Hello, and welcome to Talking Smooth Jazz. My name is Terry, a.k.a. the Jazz Queen. Mike will be joining us shortly. It is Saturday, January 24th, 2016. If you would like to join us in the chat room, please go to TalkingSmoothJazz.com and click on Tony Craddock Jr.'s CD cover, Convection. That will bring you into our show page, and below that is the chat room. The phone number is 646-716-5485, 646-716-5485. Today, I am excited to talk to saxophonist Tony Craddock Jr. about his latest release, Convection. Not only is he a musician, but he also holds a degree in atmospheric sciences. So he is combining his passion for weather and adding that into his music. Welcome, Tony, to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Terry, and I'm glad to be with the Talking Smooth Jazz community. So thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It is my pleasure. So I was really interested to read that you hold a degree in meteorology.
Yes, indeed. Weather has always been a passion of mine, dating back to the age of 8, where I fell in love with the Weather Channel. And that's actually the same place where I fell in love with smooth jazz, as they played the smooth jazz music during the local forecast segments back in the day. Unfortunately, they don't do that anymore. But over the years, I fell in love with weather and music, and the two became interrelated in my mind. So when it came time for college, I knew weather was what I wanted to study. So I went to Cornell University, where I graduated in 2010 with a degree in atmospheric science, as you said. And then, meanwhile, music was always something I wanted to pursue. So being that I had two interests that on the surface seem unrelated, I was blessed enough to find a way to combine the two into a blend that hopefully touches lives and touches hearts by, communicating about stories in a way that gives them a fresh perspective on life.
Now, the name of your CD is called Convection, and that is a weather-related term. What's the definition of convection?
Yes, convection is the rising of air that occurs when you have a cold air mass that collides with the warm air mass. Since cold air is denser, the warm air mass will always rise over the cold air. And through that convection, when the moisture condenses in the atmosphere, you get rain, and you also get severe weather like thunderstorms. So the whole theme about convection is it's a powerful force, and whether it's a powerful force that can lead to severe weather. And then the way I use convection with my album, it was sort of a double entendre, so to speak. If you switch the letter E in convection to I, you get the word conviction, which is a strong belief. Both of those being powerful, convection and conviction. So throughout the album, I'm using weather-related terms and song titles to talk about some of my beliefs and the things that drive me. So that's how the two are related.
Okay. Let me welcome to the chat room Joe from Germany. Hey, Joe, and we have some guests in the chat room as well. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in. We are talking to saxophonist Tony Craddock Jr. His release is called Convection. It features Ken Navarro and Ashley Rice, and I understand that Ken plays a big part in your music.
Yes, he does. I listened to Ken quite a bit growing up. I learned about him through the Weather Channel. They often played his music on the local on the 8th. So fast forward from 1996 to 2012, when I was recording Convection, I reached out to Ken, and I was actually a bit nervous because I didn't know if he would say yes, if he would perform with me on the album or not. But I said, look, I've been following you for a while. My music has also been on the Weather Channel, and I'd like to have you on my album. And he was kind and gracious enough to agree to it, and that was sort of the genesis of our friendship and our mentorship. Ever since then, it was more than him just recording on the album. He's become a trusted friend and mentor, really taught me a lot about the music business, and just an all-around great guy. So Ken is not just, an artist on the album, but he's truly a respected and trusted friend.
Okay, yes, we have interviewed Ken several times about his music. And so I'm happy that you guys, were able to meet and he agreed to play a song on the CD. Now tell me about Ashley Rice.
Ashley, her and I knew each other growing up. We both sang in the same church choir. My home church is First Mount Zion Baptist in Dumfries, Virginia, about 30 minutes south of D.C., and she had a great voice growing up. I mean, she was the kind of person when she grabbed the mic, everyone was at the edge of their seat listening because, every note that came off the microphone was just great. So when it came time for me to record the album, I said, I need a vocalist who has a strong voice that will really move people. So she was the person I called up. Right now she's living in Philadelphia, doing some acting and some music, but she really did a great job on the song that I wrote on the album called Wind at My Back. So just a great singer.
Okay. So now is it just Ken Navarro and Ashley Rice on the CD? Are there any other artists you're working with?
No, those are the only two features.
Okay, cool. All right, well, let's listen to some music from Convection, and I'm going to let you choose what we listen to, Tony. So what's going to be the first song?
I'd like the first song to be the title track, Convection. So it's an up-tempo track, powerful as Convection is, and conviction, so hopefully the listeners enjoy it.
All right. If you would like to call in with a question or a comment for Tony, the phone number is 646-716-5485. This is Convection. All right, that was the title track from saxophonist Tony Craddock Jr.'s new release, Convection. Mike has joined us. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Terry, how's it going today?
All right. Meet Tony.
Hey, Tony, how's everything?
Doing well. How about you?
Oh, man, I'm doing horrible, Tony. Doing horrible. This weather's killing me, Tony. This weather's killing me. This snow's killing me out here.
Oh, I'm
my
sorry to hear
gosh.
that because I'm enjoying the snow.
Oh, well, you may be the only one.
Ken Navarro has popped into the chat room, and he says they have 30 inches of snow on the ground. Vegas is looking pretty good right now to him.
Oh, it's looking beautiful right now. Yes, indeed. Yes. Yes, indeed.
Wow. 30 inches. That is just unreal. Unreal. He says hi, Mike.
Right.
All right, so he also says Tony is special. It's great that you invited him on Talking Smooth Jazz. Meteorology and smooth jazz, that's an interesting combination, and just rang a bell. Steve Hamilton, owner of K-High Denver, shares the same interest. So that was from Joe from Germany. Wow.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Well, thanks for joining us, Ken, and thank you, Joe.
That's, I'm telling you, and that's just unreal for me. Mike, how much snow have you guys gotten?
30 inches is the same. I know. I think Ken's out in Bowie, so we have the same amount of snow out here. 30 inches, and there's it's about maybe like thigh high to me, and I'm like 5'11", so it's very high.
Wow,
yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. And just a little weather tidbit. I follow Ken on social media and on Facebook yesterday. He mentioned that where he lives, they were experiencing some thunder snow. And thunder snow is actually a result of convection. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering. I never heard of that before, but that's interesting.
Yep, the same process that causes thunder during the summertime with a thunderstorm causes thunder snow during the winter. It's just that your precipitation is snow instead of rain, but the same general process. So.
Right. Now, I got to ask, I don't know if Terry asked, now you got into meteorology when you were 8 years old. What does an 8-year-old kid, what were you doing at 8 years old that you became interested in this?
It started in my third grade classroom. One day I was looking out of the window, and there was a thunderstorm going on, ironically. And from that point I said, wow, this is really beautiful stuff. I got to go home and find out more about this. So I knew the place to go was the Weather Channel. Where I lived in Woodbridge, Virginia, that was Channel 30. So I went home and flipped to Channel 30, and there was the Weather Channel. But what I didn't know was that I would run into smooth jazz during the local forecast segments. So for a while, there was this interesting dynamic going on where every day when I would get off the school bus, like around 3:36, I would sprint home to catch, the local on the 8th. It would come on at 3:38, and then I would watch it every 10 minutes until I went to sleep. And for a while, I wondered, well, why in the world do I want to keep watching the same forecast? It barely changes. And then the button clicked. It's the music that keeps you there. Yeah, you're interested in the weather, but every 10 minutes, a different smooth jazz song comes on. So that's why the two are still married together today, the weather and the music. That's how I fell in love with each of them, and that's the way I want to keep it.
Wow.
Now, has your music been featured on the Weather Channel, Locals on the 8th?
It has. My debut release, Christmas in the Air, which was dropped in November 2011, I was blessed enough to have it featured on their Christmas playlist in 2011 and 2012. And the interesting thing about it was I actually came in right on the end of Weather Channel playing smooth jazz, because right after 2012, they moved to alternative music, kind of soft rock. So I'm thankful that I was able to catch the Weather Channel in its last, moment, so to speak, of them featuring smooth jazz. So that was kind of like a full circle experience, and I'm grateful for that.
And so did you submit the music, or did they come to you and ask for the music?
I submitted the music, submitted it to their programmer, and thankfully he liked it. Maybe me being a meteorology major had something to do with it, but they liked the music, and I'm glad that I was able to get airplay.
Okay, cool. Cool. Now, speaking of your degree in atmospheric sciences, are you going to pursue a career in that?
Right now, I'm not working. So I work for the federal government, and right now that's not part of my day-to-day job. So
okay,
music is my primary way of using weather at this moment, but I definitely have the skills to still use that for a 9-to-5 career. But that's not necessarily how I'm using it right now.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't ask you what you do for the federal government because I don't want them knocking on my door, talking about national security stuff. So I don't want to get anybody in trouble there.
It's not an issue. If it was, I wouldn't say it over air.
Okay. All right, cool. So now this CD, Convection, is on your label. It's the Cold Front Music record, your label?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Founded in 2011.
All right. Cool name, Cold Front Music. That's another weather-related term.
Yep. Yeah, really. Cold Front. Yes.
Yeah.
Were there any other choices besides Cold Front, or that's the first one that you came up with?
There were a few other names I was toiling with, and funny story how it came up. I was speaking with my parents about what name should I come up with. I wanted to have weather as part of it to symbolize the relationship between the weather and music, and my mom actually came back to me and just one day she kind of said, Cold Front Music, that's the name. And then I listened to it and I said, oh, wow, that does sound good. Cold Front Music it is. So that's how the name came up, just brainstorming through some different ideas, and that was the one that stuck.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
I do like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And are you working with any other artists on the label?
No, right now I'm the only artist.
You're the only one. Okay. All right, then. All right, well, let's listen to another song. What are we going to hear next?
I think this next song will be fitting given the winter storm Jonas and the blizzard of 2016 that just plowed through the mid-Atlantic. The title is Wind at My Back, and it's related to a scientific law called the bi-balance law. I won't get into the nitty-gritty of it, but more or less in the northern hemisphere, if you have the wind at your back and you stick your arm out to the left, that's the direction that the storm is in, or the low-pressure system. So as it relates to life, the song is about the storms in life that we all go through and the way that God can be the wind at our back, guiding us through the storm, and also giving us wisdom, understanding, and peace, i.e., understanding the direction of the storm. So, wind at my back.
All right, here we go.
Wind at my back, I know the direction.
All right, that was Wind at My Back from Tony Craddock Jr.'s Convection CD, and that was Ashley Rice doing the vocals there. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. So now you are a teacher. You teach music to students. Tell us about that.
I do. In my spare time, I give private instruction, classical and jazz, to students of all ages, whether that's middle school, high school, or adults. I actually have had a decent number of adult students who played the sax at one point, when they were younger, and they want to pick it back up as a hobby later in life. So I definitely enjoy teaching.
And that's good because the schools are taking the music out of the classroom, so it's good that some schools are keeping it in, and then you're able to do that.
Absolutely. Music education is so important. When I think about where I'm at today, I wouldn't be there without, my middle school band teacher, Mr. Silver, or the band instructor at my church, Deacon Perkins. Those were instrumental figures in my life that saw potential in me and kind of planted the seed for me to continue to grow. So it's really a shame that it's being pulled out of schools. And but I think nonprofit organizations and instructors like myself are hopefully filling in the gap. The schools are unfortunately creating, and I think we'll find a way to keep it alive.
I hope so. Yes, I hope so. Joe from Germany was commenting on the last song. He said it was very nice. And my next question is another comment he made was he also likes the cover of the CD, and I was going to ask you about that. Tell me about that cover.
Well, the cover was designed by myself in partnership with my graphic designer, Kevin Pleasant, who's based out of Richmond, Virginia. And the thought was, convection being a weather term, we wanted to have something that showed weather. So it shows 4 seasons going across summer, winter, spring, and fall. And then you have the sun in the top left corner, which is oftentimes the source of convection, which creates the heat for the rising air. So just wanted to make weather a key part of the album. And we also wanted to make it bright so that it inspired and encouraged, because ultimately that's what I want my music to do, inspire and encourage people. So we wanted to make it bright, make it happy, make it lively. So that's kind of the thought process that went into the album artwork.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I like the colors too. I like the style of it, the feel of it. Really nice. I like the way your name is going across the sea. I guess that's supposed to represent air going across the top of the sea.
Yeah, actually,
convection.
I never thought of that, but that's you could put it that way. The way my name was put around the title, I didn't want my name to be bigger than the title. So I intentionally made my name smaller than the title, because the album is about convection and inspiring and encouraging. It's not about me. So that was actually why it was put that way. I thought my name curving around the sea looked cool. But now that you say that, I guess I can add that to the story.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Ken is going to be calling in here shortly. I wanted to ask you guys about your upcoming event that you have going on together, the Valentine's Day event. So when he calls in, I'll talk to him about that.
Great.
I want to listen to another song, though. So tell me what else? What's the next song?
With Ken calling in, I think it's only appropriate that we play the song that he was featured on Convection, which is 1102 Bradfield Hall. That song is very special because 1102 Bradfield Hall is the room at Cornell University where I took most of my meteorology classes. So that song is sort of a dedication to the room where I learned a lot of the things that I'm using in my music right now and where I built a lot of memories. So 1102 Bradfield Hall,
cool.
Featuring Navarro.
All right, 1102 Bradfield Hall. 1102 Bradfield Hall from Tony Craddock Jr.'s Convection CD. All right, nice music here. So when you were writing this music, I know you were all thinking about the weather theme that you wanted to put into this music. And how long did it take you to put this CD together?
I'd say about 6 months. The concept for doing the CD started right after the release of my Christmas album, which was about December. I started around December 2011, and by July 2012, I was recording. So about 6 or 7 months. I had a few of the songs already stored away in my database from writing them over the past 2 or 3 years, and then 1102 Bradfield Hall was one of the songs that I wrote within that 6-month time span. Convection was actually another one of those songs. So it didn't take that long. Thankfully, everything came together. And when I wrote 1102 Bradfield Hall, after listening to all the songs, I kind of thought, okay, which one has enough space to allow someone to come along and solo and be a featured guest? So 1102 Bradfield Hall was the one that I picked out. And as you just heard, Ken definitely filled the space very well. The thing I like about him is he's so smooth. Like the guitar, the strings the notes just roll off his fingers. So it definitely had the kind of vibe that I wanted the song to have, and he complimented it very well.
Oh, okay. All right. Ken, did you 410? Is that you, Ken?
That's me. Hi, how you guys doing?
Hey,
Good.
Ken.
How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Buried in 30 inches of snow.
On this one. Man, we still can't really get out our front door. How are you guys doing in Virginia, Tony?
Oh, we're doing pretty well. I was shoveling throughout the storm, so about every...
Yeah, that's about the only way to stay ahead of it. It's just so much snow. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this.
Yeah, it was certainly historic.
Yeah, I know.
I was going to say, Ken, when you open your door, is it just like a 10-foot
You
don't want to know,
It's
Terry.
sitting there waiting for you. It's sitting there waiting for you.
It's so bad, it's funny. It's like if we can't open if we open the front door because it's drifted, it's been really windy. If we open the front door, about 3 feet of snow would just come right into the house. I mean, it's like that kind of snow. Oh, man. But it's okay. I mean, I've been working in my studio. We haven't lost power, so I've been recording and writing, and I baked a key lime pie this morning, and I'm just,
I saw that.
it's fun for a while, you know what I mean? And then you kind of go, okay, I think I'm ready to get out of the house. And go to Las Vegas.
Well, that's what I told Mike. I said, I hope you don't get cabin fever by the end of the weekend because you're going to be, stuck inside the whole weekend.
Exactly. That's kind of, and I think probably a little bit tomorrow too. But Tony, it sounds like it hasn't been so bad. Your neck of the woods.
Well, thankfully, I live in a community where they've been plowing continually. So I don't know how it looks out on the roads outside of my community, but at least I know when I look out of my window, it looks like we're pretty good. So,
that's
like
good.
you said, I think we'll be inside tomorrow, maybe part of Tuesday, but by Wednesday, I think we should be rolling again.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I know. Well, hey, the music sounds great. Coming over my computer, my laptop. I have it hooked into my studio, and it sounds really great.
Ah, thanks. Well, you have a lot to do with that.
Just that one song. I was the minute the song with me came on, then I start getting critical. Then I start finding things wrong. Ooh, did I play that? Oh no, why did I do no? I'm kind of kidding, but I always listen when it's something that I'm involved in. I always get my critics' ears on for some reason. But no, I was actually thinking of your playing and the way the rest of the album had been sounding too. Nice for you to have him on, Terry. Thanks for doing that. That's great.
Oh, no problem. And I also, in addition to talking to you both about your upcoming Valentine's Day event, Ken, I wanted to know, first of all, had you heard of Tony before he contacted you? Had you met him or heard of him before?
No, we had never met. I think he really, in large measure, was kind of preparing what he was going to do and launch his career. I think the Christmas album, I don't even think that had come out, when we first, met over email and the phone. So, once I heard the music, I get a lot of calls, from people who'd like me to play on a feature, and I don't take them that often because oftentimes, I want to be represented up to the level that I represent myself at on my own record. So I take some of them, but I'm in other words, I'm kind of skeptical, and I want to hear the music. But I was so impressed with Tony, and clearly, you can hear, he's just at the beginning of his music career, and in many ways his life, he's just getting going compared to me anyway. And so I was just to hear somebody that good, so young, and also so together, with what he wants to do and how he's approaching his life direction and the path that he wants to put himself on. It's unusual, though. He reminds me a lot of Eric Darius when I first met Eric before anybody knew who Eric was. And it was the same vibe, the same quality, not only of music and as a saxophonist, but as a person. And so, I right away said, "Yep, I'll do it. I'm in."
Oh, okay, good. Now, Tony, when you sent Ken the music, I know that you heard his music on the Weather Channel, so I'm sure that you had no problems with what he was going to send back to you. But was it once he sent his part back to you, was that first choice you went with?
From what I remember, yes. Like you said, anything he sent back would have been fine with me because I've heard his level of playing and skill and attention to detail over the years. But he was great about communicating via email. I sent him the track and sent kind of a sketch/guideline of what I was looking for where in the song. And, he met my expectations, exceeded them. He's a consummate professional, so I had no doubt that he would do a great job with it. And as you heard, he definitely did. So the process was really seamless, and I really appreciated that. I really didn't know how our communication would go with somebody of his caliber. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, there's a lot of red tape, so to speak, and the communication was seamless. Even though we were just meeting each other, he seemed like a friend right off the bat. So in addition to the music, just him having such a great personality and being so friendly really made it a pleasure to record with him.
And Ken, how many times did you play it before you were happy with what you sent Tony?
Well, I probably, as I think I was telling Tony, I probably spent the better part of a day on the song. The first part of the day, because working this way is so different. When I lived in L.A. and I did recording sessions to make a living, you were in the room with people, you were in the room with all the musicians. It wasn't, it's not like that anymore. It's rare that I work that way when I record for other people, and when they record for me, for that matter too. So when the first part of the day, I just spent time just getting to know the song, just listening to the tracks, reading what Tony was looking for, but also just to me, when you play on a record, it's not like playing on a radio commercial or a TV show, things that I did a lot of in L.A. You're playing on music that is only there for people to focus on and listen to. It's not meant to be behind the dialogue or a picture or a movie. And so to me, it's really critical that every note is there for a reason. So I just really got to know it to the point where I didn't have to look at the chart anymore. I pretty much memorized it. And it's not a simple song, by the way. It's actually a pretty complex set of chord changes, so it took a little while. And then I probably recorded for about 3 hours. I think I sent Tony, and I can't remember now, he probably can't either. I think I sent him more stuff than he ended up using. I know that I always figure it's better to give people too much than have them go, oh, I wish he'd done something right there, So I think listening to it just now, I felt like he used pretty much everything I sent, and I hope it wasn't too much guitar in there.
Okay.
I doubt that he put it in there just to make me feel better, so I hope he didn't. But yeah, it's a different process, and it's an interesting way to work. I think for me, I love it because I can get exactly the guitar sound that I'm used to getting. When I go in somebody else's studio, they don't necessarily know as much about recording acoustic guitar as I do after doing it for 27 years. So anyway, I like it because I always know I'm going to get something really good and be able to contribute something that I'm proud of.
Okay. All right. So now let's talk about your upcoming event, Tony, the Valentine's Day Smooth Jazz Brunch. This is also featuring Ken Navarro.
Yes. We're hosting the first Cold Front Music Valentine's Day Smooth Jazz Brunch on February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2016, from 12 to 2:30 p.m. at Maggiano's in Tyson's Corner. So that's in McLean, Virginia. So for our listeners in the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area, if you're still looking for something to do on Valentine's Day, highly recommend that you come to this event. It's not just me and my band, Tony Craddock Jr. and Cold Front, but we're going to have the one and only Ken Navarro with us on guitar, and I'm happy to finally share the stage with him. So the tickets are $60, and it includes an all-you-can-eat brunch buffet, a $10 gift card to Maggiano's, and an unforgettable concert, about 90 minutes of music that'll hopefully make it a very memorable day for you. And tickets are limited. Sales have been going pretty well so far. So if you want to get yours, I definitely recommend that you visit TonyCraddockJr.com/jazzbrunch to get yours today. And if you can't remember the URL, if you type in my name, Tony Craddock Jr., Valentine's Day in Google, I'm sure something will come up that can lead you to the website. So definitely a 2-for-1, my band and Ken. So hope to see you there.
Oh, that should be a really nice show. Really nice show. Oh,
yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's what we were just talking about with the way records get recorded these days. This will be the opposite of that. This will be us interacting and communicating in the same room in real time in front of an audience, So I'm looking forward to that because Tony and I have never played together. You know what I mean? We've worked together, and I know it's going to be a great match. But you just know these things. We've been doing this long enough. But having never played together, it's going to be fun and something new. We're doing a rehearsal in a couple of weeks, and that'll be our first chance to actually say, this is what it feels like to do this at the same time.
Absolutely.
All right. Joe from Germany says, I think Ken and Tony are a very good match, and I'm glad they will have this show. It's the icing on the cake, and they will do this on Valentine's Day. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yes,
yeah,
thank
really
you very
nice.
much for that comment.
All right,
And
Mike, do you have any other questions?
I just wanted to ask Tony one question, and that was has a new artist that's coming out and everything. What do you see as some of your challenges to really get your music out and heard by the fans, not only on the East Coast but also, across the country?
Challenges. I'd say, ironically, social media is definitely it's definitely a benefit and something that you can harness. And I think Ken is an example of harnessing social media and using it to your advantage, and I'm trying to do the same thing. That said, I think there's so many new artists out there that there's some oversaturation, so to speak, and you have to really find a way to carve out your niche, which I know I've done, but just kind of fight through all the noise. And part of that is just, the right timing, things aligning the right way, which is happening for me slowly but surely. And, just making sure that you can cut through the noise. So I think the music industry, or the time we're in right now, has empowered the independent artists like me, because you don't necessarily need to be signed to a label. Both Ken and I have our own independent labels, but at the same time, without that major label pushing and promoting, you kind of have to find the time and the resources to promote yourself and cut through all the other noise. So I would say that's the challenge that hops out to me. But with every challenge, there's an opportunity. So once you get past that tipping point, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Ken, you were going to say something?
I'm trying to remember now. I was listening to Tony's answer, which I find interesting too. How it's what Mike's question. How a young artist, a new artist, breaks through. Gosh, I'm sorry, I don't remember what I was going to say. Although I would add to what Tony's saying, that it's really about longevity and about just continuing to make your mark in these different avenues that are out there. I mean, when I was starting in smooth jazz, and that was 1990, when the format was really just getting off the ground. Yeah, we didn't have any of the kinds of abilities. The internet was, I didn't even know what an internet would have been if somebody had told me about it then. So, we just didn't have access to. I remember we used to have a line that people could call, an 800 number, where they could hear recordings on a tape, and leave a message, for that's how we were trying to get the music out there. Now you think of, that sounds so archaic. So he's part of that new generation that looks at social media and YouTube and web-based things that are already here and the things that are coming next. He looks at those things very, second nature. And that's how I try to stay with it too. And I have a son who's actually Tony's age, probably even a little older. He's very helpful too, because he's always telling me about. He's sometimes ahead of the curve. He's telling me about stuff that I can't really use because the smooth jazz audience isn't there yet. But I think that's the key, and just longevity. And I've encouraged him just to keep doing it. Just keep getting better. And more people find out about you. And I just had earlier this year, I think I had my biggest radio hit anyway of my whole career, 22 albums into my career. So, you just keep at it, and you get better.
Yeah.
And more people find out about you, and they find out you're for real, and you're not going to do one album, So anyway, that's Tony's got all the right ideas, and obviously he's got the chops and the talent and the attitude, and that's the winning combination. I have no doubt that if he sticks with it, it'll happen.
Okay.
I appreciate that,
Ronald
Ken.
Jackson.
I'm sorry?
Ronald Jackson I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, Ronald. Yeah, how's he doing?
No, I wanted to read part of his review from of Tony's CD. Ronald Jackson is with the Smooth Jazz Ride, and he did a really nice review on Convection. And in part, he says, in my opinion, there is more than enough here in which to sink your teeth. This young man is on his way. The storm that you may feel brewing in the distance just may be called Tony Craddock Jr. So you can read the full review at thesmoothjazzride.com on that, and just search for Tony's name, and you can read that full review. So good job, Tony. Congratulations to you. Now, this CD was released in 2013. Are you working on new music?
I am. I'm in the process of writing some new music right now, and I think my goal with this third album is to really show some musical growth from the second album. So you're always trying to build upon your last project, and Ken knows that, being 22 CDs deep into his career. So my goal is I don't really have a timeline on it. I'm guessing. I'm not even going to bother putting a date on it, but just trying to release a product that I know shows the kind of growth that I want to put out there. And one thing I want to do on this next project is to also feature more vocal tracks. Some of the feedback I got from Convection was people really loved Wind at My Back, and I think they loved it because it was a good song, but I think they were also drawn to it because it was the one vocal track. And I think in the process of deepening my niche with the Weather music relationship, I think it will be beneficial for me to release some more songs that have lyrics that can speak to that more directly. So I know one thing I can promise fans on the next project is that there will definitely be more vocal tracks. So that's what I'm working on right now. Also on that album will likely be a wedding song that I wrote for my wife. I got married back in August of 2015, so we're about 5 months, almost 6 months into it. And I wrote a song that was played at the wedding titled Abide in Me, and that song will likely be on the next album as well. So.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's cool. Wow. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely. All right, I'm going to close the show with Let It Rise. Tell me about this song.
Let It Rise. Well, Let It Rise is very much connected to Convection because in the weather sense, we're talking about rising air, but in the spiritual sense, talking about the Spirit of the Lord rising among us. It's a contemporary Christian favorite by Stephen Hurd, who's also based out of Maryland. So given its popularity and the way that it so nicely blended with what I'm trying to do musically, it was a great fit for the album. So Let It Rise. Okay.
All right. Let everyone know where they can find you and your music on the web.
You can find me at www.tonycraddockjr.com. My music is on iTunes, any other digital music outlet. I'm also on Pandora, so if you listen to Pandora Radio, type in my name, Tony Craddock Jr., and my station will come up. For our listener, I think you said Joe in Germany. If you're not already on my email list, visit me on my website, send me a note on the contact page, and I can add you to my international email list that I have for international listeners. So thank you for your support. And for anybody else out there listening, if you're not on my email list and you'd like to get updates, visit my website where you can subscribe at the top or just send me a message, and I'd be more than glad to add you. So thank you for our listeners, and hopefully you all were blessed by the interview.
Wow, cool. All right. Well, thank you, Tony, and much continued success to you. Ken, thanks for calling in.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me to join you guys for a while.
Oh, sure. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. All right, Mike, you have anything else to add?
No, nothing else to add.
All right. Well, Joe from Germany and the guests in the chat room, thanks for tuning in. Always a pleasure to have you here with us. You've been listening to Talking Smooth Jazz with your host, the Jazz Queen.
And Mike Reynolds.
And we look forward to talking smooth jazz with you again next time. This is Let It Rise from Tony Craddock Jr. Convection release. Until next time, keep it smooth, people. Bye.
thank you for listening to Talking Smooth Jazz. Please visit our websites, TalkingSmoothJazz.com and Mastermind-Entertainment.com. Join our Facebook fan and group pages and follow us on Twitter at Jazz_Queen and The Daily Grind. That's THA Daily Grind.